but it causes repeated trauma to the brain. And over years and years of this happening, people can get what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE syndrome. And it's almost like a disease, because with repeated trauma to the brain, and that can lead to memory problems, mood swings, even trouble with movements, and eventually people can develop dementia, like Alzheimer's disease. And Jake Paul got knocked out by Anthony Joshua this past Friday night. And so I want to break this down from a medical perspective. I'm a neurosurgeon with over 25 years of experience. And so, you know, what happens is when you get hit in the head with that kind of force, like in boxing, our brain actually moves inside our skull, and it can bump into the skull, which is a firm structure, and cause bruising in the brain.
In the morning, I can't sleep. My jaw's busted. They wired it up a couple hours ago, and it hurts every time I move my mouth. I lost tonight. I gave everything, and I still lost. Feels like I let everyone down. I'm not unbreakable.
Jake Paul gets his jaw broken. Not only that, but he gets his lower jaw broken from the right and the left side, so both sides. And not only this, following that, he went through an emergency surgery procedure to get that sorted out, and titanium plates were inserted to help stabilize the case. This will take long to fully heal.
Truth is, nobody craves conflict. Once you take a shot like that, truly rocked, the mind stores it even if the pride denies it. All the medical talk on CTE and trauma isn't fluff, it's a red alert, because brain damage accumulates. Jake Paul just added a massive debt that won't fade with time. 6 months, a year maybe, plates, teeth fixed, weight shifts, slower timing.
He was going like tie him down and catch him with a good shot and shit like that. So wait, do you think, curious, because it's a business aspect, but again, I'm still a nigga and I'm still a casual fan, so I'm being real, so hold on.
That is just the medical list, because mentally the tide turned the second he called heavyweight a trap. And that sentence, that specific sentence, hurt worse than a heavy hook, because it felt like fear finding its distinct voice. AJ showing grace made it bleaker, not softer, since mercy from the Reaper confirms the end.
A couple of times, pushed down on the back of his neck, pushed down on the back of his head, got him to the ground. There was a few times where Jake looked like he was going for a takedown. Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching.
When Joshua claims that blow drops real giants, that is not a compliment. It's data. And that data is cruel when it proves how small the margin actually was the whole time. And do not assume this stops with rehab clips and hype posts, because behind the scenes, the promoters are recalculating, rivals are circling, and boards are watching closely. And I'm hearing rumors, faint ones.
To Anthony Joshua sleeping Jake and breaking his jaw in 2 different places, along with breaking his teeth. Gervonta joined the fun with the rest of the boxing community by throwing a meme on Jake Paul. That was his reaction, as you guys see above.
That many involved actually want the rematch story to never exist at all whatsoever. You likely view this as a Phoenix story, a revenge plot. But ask yourself truly, after seeing that photo burned into your skull, do you really think the ego will land the same, or will doubt freeze him before the next trade? Because that split second is where legacies rot.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome, as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be.
Something else is brewing, I feel it. Because the reactions don't match. People are choosing words too carefully, and someone is hiding a truth. Maybe a deal, maybe a state, maybe a choice made weeks back that explains this crash. And when it leaks, this whole narrative flips. So no, this isn't over. because Jake Paul didn't just lose.
Down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it to. But overall, I thought he deployed his game plan well for the first 5 rounds and actually had some success. He even moved AJ back a few times, 1 by just jabbing in the air, and 2, when he caught him, he moved.
He broke open a door the sport can't close. And as he heals and others brag, the clock counts down to the next reveal, the next leak, the next blow, and when it lands, you'll regret looking away for even 1 single second.
Yeah, he just represents everything that's wrong with boxing on professionalism. And, you know, he's getting what you know, he's reaping what he sows. But I hate working with people like that. He stands everyone up, film crews, everything, doesn't do any promotion.
He wasn't just beaten. He was deleted, jaw broken, path changed. And the dark truth is this might be when Jake's boxing dream quietly died on a Friday. So watch close as I pull this back to the moment before the fall.
AJ back. AJ came right back in and swung, but he did move him back.
When this fight was first announced, you said to several media members that, like, initially you weren't down for this fight. You thought it was just a little bit too much too soon, to paraphrase. Did he do better? Did Jake do better than you thought? Result aside, obviously you wanted him to win. You thought, I think, by the end that he was going to win, but did he actually do better than you thought initially?
When everyone thought pride could beat physics and mass and somehow survive the impact, which it couldn't. No, this is real. This wasn't a fight ending. It was a reveal. Because when Jake hit the floor and stayed, that wasn't fatigue. That was the game finally shouting the truth at him. And here is what no one says yet.
And doesn't do any posts, but it is what it is. I'm actually glad this all happened this way so that he doesn't get, you know, the biggest paycheck of his life and just continues to be a piece of shit.
Something broke long before the last hit. Something deep, something veiled, and trust me, someone is lying and we aren't there yet. You felt the shift, right? That moment the room went cold and even the booths paused, because that's the sound of a lie breaking.
Yeah, there's a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know.
I'm telling you, this wasn't AJ peaking. This was Jake hitting a level of hurt he never actually braced for. If you think this ends with a jaw, you're lost. People talk about grit like armor, but grit failed him. Grit just kept him up long enough to take hits that end careers. What snapped wasn't just bone, it was the wall between show fights and heavyweight reality. Doctors are whispering facts they won't air yet. You saw the scans, the hospital bed, but you missed the panic in the back, the rush to surgery, the way this quit being a sport injury and became a trauma case. Here is what's sickening. That last hand didn't just land. It shifted the future and how boards view these fights. People mocked him, Tank laughed, memes spread, but listen, that laughter isn't just mean, it is relief. Relief that someone finally said what boxing felt. There's hate here deeper than jokes, deeper than tweets. Jake burned bridges, mocked legends, and when the Tank deal died, he broke. Instead of fixing it, he doubled down.
To argue that, he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him is 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother.
Respect to Jake Paul that we took a few rounds to get going because Jake was moving a lot and holding a lot, and you know it was difficult to nail him clean. I think, but eventually AJ took his time, cut him off, and smashed him about. And listen, respect to Jake Paul because that last shot, I know he shattered his jaw, but it would have knocked most heavyweights out. So I've got to give him credit.
I was going to say, in the end, are you pleased with that? Because obviously everyone was saying
wicked fight. Respect to Jake Paul for taking the fight. Took a heavy shot. But you know what? What a fantastic fight he put on. But big well done to AJ. We knew from day one AJ was going to do it. But the better fighter was going to win.
People said that Jake Paul was running. Do you feel like he ran or do you like...
I mean, against someone like AJ, AJ's a big guy, strong guy, and he can hurt you. So yeah, 100%, like, he's going to want to avoid his power, but you know what? He got caught in the corner and bang you out.
And when they're rugby tackling you, but he had to do what he had to do to survive. And he did that. So, you know, it's very difficult to go in like, you know, out of the ring for 14 months and just be razor sharp with a guy running. And so, yeah, probably 2 or 3 rounds more than expected. But fair play to Jake Paul. He was a lot tougher than I thought, and he took a lot more shots than I thought he could.
What did AJ tell you inside the ring about the fight?
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that
will argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him is 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother.
Graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological.
That choice will haunt him. Some men don't forget. I'm sensing something truly ugly coming here. Until then, the jokes spread, the debates rage, and the visual that won't vanish is Jake Paul grinning before the bout and broken after, a before and after that explains the whole brutal story in one frame. Now they all pretend this was competitive, hiding behind mercy quotes and moral wins. But respect won't fix a broken jaw, and it won't change the fact that AJ dismantled him calmly, like a master solving a puzzle he had already memorized. And if you think every other fighter in the division didn't take notes on that, you are kidding yourself. This was the blueprint, and it's out now.